Today marks the 20th anniversary of the Halo franchise, as well as the first Xbox to be released. Holy shit, I feel even more old. Halo CE and Xbox were both released on November 15th, 2001. To celebrate, I thought I would share my thoughts and opinions on the first Halo game. Now look, before I start talking about a game that started a beloved franchise, I'm going to begin with a prologue of my experience with this franchise and how I came into it. I'm going to be honest with you guys, I wasn't one of those people that grew up playing this game. Instead, back then, I grew up playing Metroid Prime on the Nintendo GameCube. Great game to play, by the way. How I found out about Halo was that one of my cousin's friend had an Xbox 360. They first were playing Assassin's Creed, and then later they played Halo 3. I didn't play the game, instead I watched a bit, so really I never got myself into Halo mainly because, again, I grew up playing Metroid Prime. I did find videos of Samus Aran and Master Chief getting into stupid fights. Those videos were fun to watch. It then came to a point where I started making fun of Halo and Master Chief. As a kid, I was like, LOL, Master Chief can't defeat Samus Aran! Or, LOL, Halo is dumb! Or, Bionicle is better than Halo! Or, Lucario can kick Master Chief's butt! Or, Master Chief will never get into Smash! Which is something I should never say because last time I said something like that was before Isabelle from Animal Crossing was revealed for Smash Ultimate. In fall 2019, at the beginning of my first semester at my second college, I met a guy who was obsessed with Halo. He tells me that he grew up playing Halo as a kid. He left out his Xbox One in the student lounge for people to use if they ever got bored. Together, me and this friend of mine got to play Gears of War 4, Gears 5, and Halo multiplayer, despite my ass getting kicked many times by him. I had a lot of fun with that game. I would later try out Halo CE's campaign on the Master Chief Collection. So that's my story of how I got myself into Halo. Now we can move on to the game itself. Please note that I don't own the vintage Xbox console, nor do I own a vintage disc for PC. Instead, I will be playing Halo CE on the Master Chief Collection via Steam, since you're able to play the game with a feature to change the visuals to the original version, which I love because it shows how much the developers appreciate their games and their community. Anyway, let's talk about the game that started it all, that had kids in the 2000s run home after school to play on their Xbox. Halo Combat Evolved. As always, to start, let's begin with the visuals. Halo at the time had very fantastic graphics. Now some of you guys might think that Halo's graphics look like shit, but keep in mind, this game was released in the early 2000s with the original Xbox console, so obviously the poly counts on the models were low. That's not a bad thing, at the time, they were really good. The textures were also good, there was a lot of detail on some of the items and characters. The weapon models are also very nice. It has that feeling that it came from the future, but also has that realistic military standard issue feel to it. The alien military items such as crates, ships, guns, and bombs are also nice. The color palettes on the models are aesthetically pleasing, as well as the glowing textures applied onto them. It gives you that extraterrestrial feel to it. There's violence in the game, but it's not something like extremely graphic like Call of Duty World at War, Doom, Half-Life, or the Dead Space trilogy. Or Mortal Kombat, we can't forget about Mortal Kombat. Blood comes out of the enemies or the player whenever you shoot them with your weapon or melee attack them, and most of the time it's just blue blood like in that Edgar Wright film, The World's End.
Obey now or face the consequences.
The sound design is also nice. The gun sound effects such as reloading, firing, and deploying feel satisfying to listen to. The alien gun firing sound effects are also satisfying to listen to as well. As for the animations on the model were good. The cutscenes still hold up. The lip syncing wasn't good, but honestly, I really don't mind. Half-Life had a similar thing with their lip syncing, and so did Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. Though Deus Ex managed to do a great job with the lip syncing, so I'm sure they could have taken notes on that, but whatever, the past is the past, and whatever happened in the past stays in the past. The animations on the view models look good, even to this day. The soundtrack is great to listen to. Most of the tracks feel memorable, fun, and epic to listen to. When you're fighting enemies, the music becomes fast-paced, but when you're exploring the game, it goes into a slow-paced experience with a core thrown into it. As for the theme song, The theme song is a classic. I like listening to this song and miming it like as if I'm some dumb idiot person using TikTok. The theme song starts slowly with a choir while giving you a feeling that you're listening to this song in a religious church of some kind. A little story I want to share. I remember the time when I was walking into the cafeteria in my second college. I was listening to this song, and as I was listening to it, I saw a Flex Seal ad playing on TV. Just thought it would be funny to put that in the video. Now that I talked about visuals, let's talk about the general campaign mode of this game. The story mode of Halo doesn't have much to offer. I mean, all I can say about Halo is that you're a green guy that shoots aliens because aliens are bad guys, and then you go to a giant space ring, fight more aliens, then encounter evil zombie plant monsters, and then blow up Ring. That's really the story. Yeah, I just dumped all of that. Spoilers, by the way, but whatever, it's an old game made for babies. Okay, real talk about the story mode. The plot of the story is that you are the Master Chief, played by Steve Downs. You and your Marine buddies crash and find something known as the Halo Array, and must get out of there while being guided by a blue girl named Cortana, played by Jen Taylor, who would later become the personal assistant for Windows 10 machines to rival Siri. Huh. Microsoft really loves Halo. Oh yeah, Jen Taylor is also the same voice actress who played other video game characters such as Princess Peach, Princess Daisy, Toad, Birdo, Princess Daisy, oh wait, I said that, Toadette from the Super Mario franchise, as well as Zoe from Left 4 Dead. Anywho, you and your holographic friendo fight what is known as the Covenant, an empire that is made of multiple races of aliens such as grunts, elites, jackals, or hunters. As for Master Chief, I never understood why people love this guy so much. There was barely any backstory for this character when he was revealed. Then again, the same could be said about Link, Mario, Gordon Freeman, Doom Guy, Captain Price, etc, etc. So why do people like him? It can't be because of nostalgia, can it? Well, I've looked into it, and it turns out the reason people like him so much is because he's a simple character, and because you are him. The experiences you go through in this game are not just his, but yours as well. I don't know, I found that off of Quora. Tell me in the comments on why you think Master Chief is so popular. Let's now talk about the baddies. The grunts are just a bunch of petty little shitheads that pussy out once you overpower them. The elites, however, are much braver than the grunts. Some elites have energy swords that you can't use. You can use them in Halo 2, however, but this is not Halo 2. The jackals have energy shields used to protect themselves from projectiles. If you shoot the shield, it will become a lot weaker to the point where it gets disabled. And lastly, there's the hunters. They have armor that force you to use explosive-based weapons since regular guns won't work. I think the weapons you would acquire in Halo are your typical weapon rosters you would find in other games like Doom or Half-Life. You have the Magnum pistol, a bullshit pistol that does good damage and has high accuracy, hence why I like to call it a bullshit pistol, because pistols are not sniper rifles. Tell me, have you ever seen a sniper use a pistol? I'm sure I'm probably going to get a comment about this because last time I was wrong about something was in my Black Ops 1 video where I said that guns can't shoot in space. Fuck me sideways. Then there's the assault rifle, which feels pretty weak compared to the pistol in my opinion. The shotgun, however, is pretty strong, like the shotguns in Doom or Half-Life. The sniper rifle is a true sniper rifle. It's pretty much the pistol, but the damage and accuracy is stronger than the pistol, and you can scope in. Just like most first-person shooters, you can use a rocket launcher, but this one has 2 barrels, one for each rocket. There are also alien weapons you can acquire throughout the game. They're very common, probably because you are fighting aliens, of course. The weapons you can acquire are the plasma pistol, plasma rifle, and the needler. The plasma pistol shoots glowing green balls that do damage, and can also be charged for a better shot by holding down the primary fire, kinda like in Metroid Prime. The plasma rifle shoots glowing blue balls, but it's an automatic weapon so you can't charge it. The needler shoots purple glowing needles that can home in on enemies and stick onto them. If you shoot more needles onto that enemy, they'll explode. The plasma pistol and rifle both have an overheat system, and batteries that can't be reloaded or added via picking up other weapons from the ground. The needler, however, has ammunition that can be picked up. You get 2 grenades, the frag grenade and plasma grenade. Frag grenade is your basic grenade. pull the pin, toss it, and it will do the rest.
And the life scale's gone!
Plasma grenades do the same as a frag. Pull the pin, toss it, and it will do the rest. Unlike frag grenades, this one can stick onto enemies like a Semtex grenade. If you run out of ammo for your weapons, you can always rely on a melee attack. It's not strong like the knife in Call of Duty games after Modern Warfare, but it gets the job done. Much like Doom, there are power-ups you can acquire, such as a cloaking device and a super shield. I'm sure they have actual names, but I'm just going with my gut. You can use vehicles to travel to the next checkpoint. The vehicles you get to use are a Warthog, which is some sort of military Jeep ATV hybrid that has a mounted chain gun on the back. Personally, I find it hard to control, whereas the chain gun is very useful in my opinion. It doesn't overheat, and you have unlimited ammo, so you could spray it like a psychopath. The Ghost is a land speeder that has plasma turrets that you can fire while driving it. The Banshee is a vehicle that is able to fly. Just like the Ghost, you can use plasma turrets. It's very hard to get it, but once you get it, you'll have a lot of fun flying around with it. There's also a stationed plasma turret that you can use that shoots purple glowing balls. The thing I like about the campaign mode is the fact that every time you die, you don't have to wait for a loading screen. You instantly go back to the previous checkpoint and get right back into the action. This is great because this game knows it's fast paced, and it wants you to have that adrenaline to keep on playing. The health and shield system is really good. Each time you receive damage, the shields will take the damage. Once your shields are offline, you can wait until it recharges. However, if your shields are offline and you're taking damage, you will lose health and your health cannot regenerate. Instead, you'll need to pick up health kits to keep yourself going. This feature would be later used in other games. If I recall, I think it was used in the Mass Effect trilogy, Destiny 2, and Warframe. As you progress further into the game, you'll start fighting enemies known as the Flood. These enemy types are basically like Necromorphs from the Dead Space trilogy or Reapers from the Mass Effect trilogy, but before they even existed. How you fight them is by, well, capping their asses with your gun, of course. Easy peasy, right? Right? Well, not really. They also happen to be bullet sponges as well, so it will take a lot of ammo and batteries to put those fuckers down, and there are a bunch of enemy types to fight. The weapons I suggest you use to fight back are probably explosive based weapons. Now some of you guys might think, can't you just pass through them? Well, I've done that many times, and I've been told by my friend that you cannot pass through the Flood. And you know what I say to that? I say, fuck you, Benny, because I will pass through that Flood. Problems I have with the campaign is the radar and the lack of an objective point. The radar only detects enemies, and that's it. Every time I want to keep on going, I keep getting lost to the point where I have no idea where to go. And sometimes I keep ending up in the same place, like as if I'm running in full circle. While an objective point does show in a few places, sometimes it just does not. It's pretty obnoxious in my opinion. Lastly, the soldier AI in this game is bad. Like, they'll do stupid shit. The ending to Halo's campaign is really over the top. It gives you this feeling that you're in this action-packed movie. Pretty awesome stuff. You set the Halo ring to blow up while you're driving in a Warthog onto a ship to escape, and then it ends with Master Chief doing a YouTube face reveal, but without showing his face. Overall, the campaign for Halo is a lot of fun. For its time, a really nicely done campaign. Simple to play while also having a simple to follow story. Let's now move our attention to multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayer. Multiplayer in Halo is summed up in this clip I recorded.
Team Slayer.
Okay, real talk about multiplayer. Multiplayer is kind of a shit show for me. While I do like the map designs of each arena, my problem is the weapon balance. They use the weapons from the campaign into multiplayer with nothing changed. Some games you start off with an assault rifle and a pistol, but the assault rifle is just ass. It is simply useless. So the pistol is your only option, but other people will be using a pistol as well, which means you'll be sniped so many times by a fucking stupid pistol. Do you now see why I like to call the Halo pistol a bullshit pistol? Aside from starting off an assault rifle and pistols, there are weapons from the campaign you can also pick up and use. Interestingly, you can use a flamethrower in multiplayer, but at the time you can only use it on the PC version. I think in the Master Chief Collection, you can use it both on PC and on Xbox. I think, don't quote me on that. There aren't much game modes in multiplayer. There's Slayer, which is pretty much your standard team deathmatch. Oddball, a game mode based around holding a skull for 2 minutes while your teammates help defend you. Capture the Flag, a classic game mode where you and your team, well, captures the flag to win. King of the Hill, which is holding out an area. And lastly, Race, which is basically walking around the map to different checkpoints. Capture the Flag is very different compared to some Capture the Flag games I played. This version has you holding the flag while your teammates help push back the enemy team. A lot of teamwork is required for this game mode, and I do like that. The game has an announcer that sounds cheesy, but badass at the same time. He will award with how many kills you get. The only team that you can play as is red and blue. I mean, I don't know what else to say about that. So that's really all I have to say about Halo's multiplayer. The multiplayer is just silly and dumb. But I guess that's why people love it, and at the end of the day, if a game has a lot of flaws but is fun to play, then that means it wasn't all for nothing. Let's now wrap things up with a conclusion. In conclusion, Halo CE is a game that got the praise when it was released, and it still deserves that praise. It's not perfect though. I mean, there are flaws in this game, whether it be the multiplayer or the campaign, but honestly, just like Skyrim, I could really set those flaws aside, as they don't affect my experience with the game as much as I described they would. Halo CE gets the purple stud. It isn't perfect though, but for a game that was released as a launch title for the original Xbox, it did a lot to leave a legacy for people to remember. Hell, Microsoft is shown to care for Halo. There were advertisements that show Master Chief and some other Spartan soldiers, and Cortana is a personal voice assistant. And for fuck's sake, Master Chief was in Fortnite as a skin you can buy from the item shop, and you can play Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch with that skin. Doesn't that blow your mind at all? Probably not, because I'm sure a lot of Halo fans don't care that Master Chief is in Fortnite. Well, that's the end of my review for Halo Combat Evolved. What did you think of this video? Do you like it, or do you disagree with what I had to say about Halo? Share me your thoughts on this video, just please keep it civil. Thanks for watching, make sure to like, subscribe, send me feedback on how I can improve future videos, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!